Hi, I'm Carter Clues, and I want to invite you to join me this year at the 25th annual President's Week Conference. Asset protection, offshore investments, a lot of the financial expertise and information you need is going to be right at that conference throughout the entire week. And I think it's going to be something that you simply don't want to miss. And from my perspective, now I'm not an asset protection expert like Joel Nagel or an offshore investment expert like Mike Cobb. My expertise, as it were, lies in politics, okay, if you'll forgive me. I spent 40 years, almost 40 years, as a top political operative in Washington, D.C., in the swamp. And some of you may be saying, well, it's good for you to say that because confession's good for the soul, and you'd probably be right. But one thing I learned in those 40 years is that when the politicians come after your money, the way they are now, you better do everything you can to protect it and invest it wisely. And that's what this conference is all about. You know, in those 40 years, 4 decades in Washington, I have never, ever seen an assault on the people's pocketbooks, on your pocketbook, the way we're seeing now. Inflation, at first the government tried to deny it, Powell, Yellen, Biden, said, oh, there's no inflation. And they said, well, it's transitory. Now they're admitting it's 5 to 6%. The guy I listened to, John Williams at Shadow Stats, says, no, it's more like 13.4%. The spending, $3.5 trillion in so-called infrastructure bill that the Democrat Joe Manchin, West Virginia, said is simply fiscal insanity, okay? And they may not come up with quite that much, but they're going to be taking a chunk of money. They're going to be spending a chunk of money. They're going to be taking it from you. And that brings me to the tax aspect of it. The taxes are going to soar. We know that Biden said, well, I'll never raise taxes on the middle class, but I'm going to hit the rich people real hard. When you hit the rich people real hard, they don't have the money to invest that they need to invest, and it hits us all the way down the line. Besides that, the so-called infrastructure bill contains the highest single middle class tax increase in history. The mileage tax, oh, I know, the politicians are saying, oh, but that's just a pilot program. It makes me remember I was in a meeting once with Ronald Reagan, and years ago, and Reagan, a great president, said, a government program is the nearest thing we have on earth to eternal life. Well, that gas mileage tax is not going to stay a pilot program, and they're already talking about 10 cents per mile, and they're going to increase from there. We both know it. That's how taxes work. So you have that, plus you have the trade imbalance. The trade deficit now is at $552 billion. Okay, $300 billion of which is to China, and we all have to be careful, because if any of the foreign countries call in those debts, that's going to hit every American, particularly those who have worked hard and earn enough to have a little savings, a nest egg, maybe more than a nest egg. It's going to hit them very hard, and it's going to drain those bank accounts in a way that nobody can afford. So Washington is on the march, and they're on the march toward your bank account, and that's why this upcoming President's Week Conference is so vitally important. I'm going to share with you the inside information I have about what's really going on in Washington, the deals being made in the back rooms and the cloak rooms, what the bureaucracy's up to. The things I'm hearing are not hopeful, and they're not healthy, and I'm going to share them with you. So I invite you to join me at the conference, November 13th to 17th. This is a must attend. If you want to protect your assets and wisely distribute your investments, there's no place better to be. It's to me, it's one of the greatest mastermind groups in America, and they only have room for 50 folks. So get your reservation in early, and I look forward to seeing you.